Yeah, this episode is brought to you by us hating Utah. We don't know why. We just are.
Kind of just the way it is.
Taking them down, taking them to task. Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List. And, well, at the time of this recording, let's just check here. Is TikTok still a thing? If I could click the right app. As of the time of this recording, we're going to do it live. Hey, it's still up and running.
Hey, let's
still
go.
Going. It's still going. All right. Yeah, so, that's been a hot topic here this past week, to be honest. But
it's gone back and forth. I don't have it, so I can't even talk about it really.
It didn't really affect me because I don't really use TikTok, but the channel has a TikTok, so subscribe to Omni Entertainment.
Look at our talks.
Yeah. Is that what the kids say?
I think that's what the kids say.
Yeah.
Check out my talks.
We're with it. We're hip.
Yeah.
We know the lingo.
Yeah.
So there we go. For those of you who are wondering, as of Wednesday, it was still up and running. Yeah. Who knows what it'll be when you see this?
Who knows?
But let's move on to some movie talk here. That's what you're here for, so that's what you're going to get. And today we're going to do, I think it's safe to say it's not the most requested topic, Sundance Film Festival.
Yeah, interesting topic, that's for sure. Because you hear about it all the time.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
Or
that's
in the trailers, they say like, oh, this premiered at Sundance. Or, yeah.
And I do think it is kind of an important institution in the movie world. And since it is opening this Thursday, the day this episode comes out, I thought, what other opportunity we're going to talk about it a little bit. So we're just going to kind of briefly go into it, a little bit of the history, what it kind of represents now, and why I think it's sort of relevant today still.
All right.
So, yeah, we're not going to do a deep dive into it or anything like that, but just kind of an interesting, I did a little bit of a rabbit hole looking into this one here. I believe this one this year will be the 47th edition.
Holy cannoli.
So a couple of years from now, we'll have the 50th here coming up. So
that'll be cool.
That'll be something to look forward to for sure. I thought we should talk a little bit about the history of the festival. It's known as the Sundance Film Festival, but that, believe it or not, was not always its name.
That's what I heard.
A lot of people attribute it to Robert Redford, and obviously he had that big movie, The Sundance Kid, and everything like that. So I think a lot of people kind of assume that's what it's always been called. However, although Robert Redford was kind of attached to this project right away from the beginning, because this film festival actually started over in Utah. Robert Redford was from Utah.
Utah, man.
Makes sense. Yeah. He's one of 3 people who come from there, I suppose.
That's about right. That sounds right.
For those of you who feel insulted by that joke, name anyone that you know that's come out of Utah.
That's a great
I dare
point.
you.
That's
I dare you. I honestly can't think of any. But anyway, so originally early on, it was just called the Utah U.S. Film Festival. There had been film festivals in the past.
Is that because people didn't know where Utah was?
Possibly, yeah.
They had to say Utah, U.S.
At that point, really, the famous one was Venice.
Yep.
So if they just heard Utah Film Festival, like, oh, is that one in like Greece or something like that?
Yeah.
Too, or whatever. Yeah, this episode is brought to you by us hating Utah. We don't know why. We just are.
Kind of just the way it is.
Taking them down, taking them to task. It was an event. It was known that for many, many years. It was not officially called the Sundance Film Festival until 1991. And that was only because Robert Redford had started up this Sundance like film project and stuff like that already at that point. So they kind of integrated the two, and that's when it was finally turned into that name there. But yeah, the main thing is people know this as kind of the one that Robert Redford has been attached to since the beginning.
A lot of times when you think of Robert Redford, you always think a lot of people think indie films, westerns. They kind of think that, and Sunday they just go hand in hand. They always have been.
Yeah. He had always been a supporter of indie film and smaller projects and everything like that. This was a good way to get some other people's projects out there. It was essentially created as like a tourism promotion for the town, and we've made fun a lot about Utah. There's nothing to see there, so they needed something. Yeah. There we go. That's blow number 3. We
might be done.
We keeping a score? We keeping score? I don't know. That's it. PBL 3, Utah 0. That's all I got to say about that. All right. So nowadays, the Sundance Film Festival lasts about 10 days long. I got a question for you.
That's like a week and a half.
It's a week and a half. I'm going to challenge you here. How many films do you think is screened on average at the Sundance Film Festival nowadays?
I'm gonna kind of let's go 25. That's a lot.
Do we want to play high? Do you want me to tell you higher or lower?
Higher or lower?
Okay, so you're guessing 25?
I'm guessing 25.
Higher.
30.
Higher.
50.
Higher.
70.
Higher.
100.
Higher.
150.
Higher.
200.
Bingo.
200?
On average, this is according, I believe this was according to an article I read in Britannica. So,
okay.
On average, they can screen about 200 films over there.
Well, I guess a lot of it depends on how many screens you have. Excuse me. And a lot of those movies, too, are short films. They're not 2-hour run times. They are short films.
Yes, you have a lot of short films. You do have some feature films, and you have a lot of documentaries as well. They'll screen a lot of those as well. But yeah, according to the article from Britannica that I'm kind of used some research here, yeah, on average it'll be about 200 films within the 10-day span. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
That's wild. Well, if you have 10 screens, that's 20 a screen over 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah. It's plausible.
Yeah.
It's definitely plausible in this day and age. I don't know. I do find that kind of crazy because I try my best, with my yearly movie ranking, try to get 52 within a year.
Yeah.
That's a little over a quarter of what they do in 10 days.
And I'm sure some people just hit them up as many as they can possibly watch. And I'm sure some people, I want to watch these 4 or something. Because they're like, yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah. But that's not all. It's not just an all-out film festival. They've kind of made it as sort of this big party kind of thing for just film fans in general. There are obviously some panel discussions as well. This is where they get some of the celebrities that are part of some of the little bit bigger projects. Maybe they'll host Q&As, but also there's some musical events that go on during those 10 days as well. So that's kind of drawing in a lot of.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of people when they go to it, they don't necessarily watch all the movies, but they do the life events or the activities, or they do that stuff as well. And it's great networking, especially with all like-minded film people. Like, you want to, hey, I have this project idea. Let me talk to this person. Or I like how they did that. Let's see if we can work together on something.
And I'm glad you brought that up. But just one more point I'm going to make here. I guess the best comparison I could make is Sundance is essentially film nerd Coachella. When you think about it, it's
I like that.
You got different stages. You kind of pick and choose your thing throughout the event. Yep. But you bring up a good point about networking and everything like that. This is a huge opportunity for some smaller movies to get noticed and get distribution out there and everything too. And it is a place where some big names get some big starts. Here's just a few examples that I found here. Steven Soderbergh, he got his start. One of his big debuts was by premiering a film there. Quentin Tarantino, Reservoir Dogs.
Yep, the man.
This was essentially his first big movie. This was his first push into being known and being put on the map and everything like that. Although this was Christopher Nolan's technically second film, Memento was a big premiere there as well and really kind of brought him into the limelight as well. And it's not just directors. Jennifer Lawrence's performance in Winter's Bone got a lot of noticed there as well during the Sundance Film Festival. And also, like I said, it can kind of help with distribution, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the film itself. Damien Chazelle's Whiplash was originally a short film. That premiered at Sundance.
With different actors.
Yes, with different actors, obviously. But it was because it got a lot of attention there that he was eventually able to make a bigger budget,
People were saying, oh, we'll give you money to help make this movie because we see the potential in this movie.
And, well, they were right on that one because it's one of my favorite movies of all time for sure there. So that is just a little bit of information on the Sundance Film Festival, kind of its history, and a little bit of why it's still relevant today, at least in my opinion, because you never know. Maybe someone's film is getting premiered there this week, and 5 years down the line, we'll be hearing about them in the Oscar ceremony.
You never know.
Could happen. Hey, we talk a lot about movies on this channel, but sometimes the ones we talk about aren't the most accessible. That's where the Marshall Lyon County Library comes in handy. They have a great collection of physical media, as well as a couple of online services with many, many options for movies, TV shows, and documentaries. It's easy. Just get your own library card at the Marshall Lyon County Library and gain access to their large variety of movies, TV shows, and of course, books. Also, be sure to check back every month as we here at Popcorn Bucket List make specific movie recommendations based on a monthly theme. So head on over to the Marshall Lyon County Library for some of our favorites and check out the channel to get even more movie recommendations. And now, on with the show! But with that, let's transition to the weekly preview, talk about some other movies that are coming out here to all audiences across the nation, not just in Utah right now.
Although, before we get into this, have you seen the South Park episode where they do the Sundance Film Festival? It goes to South Park.
I don't think I have, no.
It's old ones. I think Mr. Hankey's in it. It's pretty funny. It's pretty good.
I'll have to see if I can find that one. Which season do you know?
Oh, early.
Early? Okay.
Early.
You can kind of tell just by the animation style,
Yeah.
but the eras and everything. But let's talk about this. This one I'm a little torn on here. Flight Risk. This one's coming out Friday, January 24th. This one's coming straight to theaters, rated R. Stars Marky Mark and Eric Foreman and Michelle Dockery. This movie takes place primarily in a small plane as they try to transport a fugitive to testify on trial, but the pilot turns out to be a hitman.
Yep.
What do we think of this one here?
I think Mark Wahlberg with no hair looks awesome.
The bald cap was a bold choice.
Yeah.
It was a bold choice.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just looking at kind of stills of it, and when he has the baseball cap on, also I don't like that I call it a baseball cap. It's a hat, a baseball hat. I call it. Anyways, when he's wearing it, his hair looks like his normal, regular hair, but then when the baseball cap's off, it looks way different.
It looks like Homer Simpson, middle-aged dad.
Yeah,
but he's trying to be a hitman. Yeah. I guess the choice there is hitmen are known as being suave, good hair, handsome, and all that.
Yeah,
they're trying to do a zigzag kind of. I don't know. But it was a bold choice. It threw me. Yeah. I had to pause it for a second. That's how much it threw me off.
It's like if he was just missing a tooth or something, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No, it was good. It was good.
So essentially just those three. Obviously we're gonna have other side characters probably when they take off or if they land or whatever. But it's three people in a very confined space. I do find interest in that because I think that is a very challenging movie to make. Mm-hmm. First of all, technically speaking, because you don't have a lot of wiggle room. Second of all, just to keep people entertained.
Yep.
Let's be honest, people's attention spans...
Not great.
Not great, no.
Not great.
So when you have it just in a confined space, primarily during the movie, you have to figure out some pretty crazy things keep people.
Yep. Whenever I think of confined spaces, there's two things that always pop in my head. The Twilight episode of 5 characters in search of each other, where they're the 5 toys in the bin. That one, because same place, 99% of it takes place in a white cylinder box. That's it. And the other one is Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight, where that's a longer movie, and a majority of that movie takes place inside of a little shack, a little hut.
But the advantage that movie has, I agree with you. It is the advantage with that one.
But they have room.
There's a lot more room.
There's a lot of room.
You could probably fit that whole plane in that cabin.
Yeah.
But also there was a lot more characters and a lot more colorful characters.
Yes. Yep.
And everything. Whereas here, you have the fugitive Eric Foreman. I'm just gonna keep calling him Eric Foreman because that's all I can think of here.
Yep.
That's all.
Not Venom.
No, God no. Even then, I was still like.
What's Eric Foreman doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I kept expecting Red Foreman to come kick Venom's butt before Spider-Man. Anyways, you have Fugitive, who seems like really kind of almost like an Edward Snowden type, where it's almost like he's not like a fugitive like you usually think of, maybe like a tech advisor to
like a tech bro.
Yeah, the only colorful character here is Mark Wahlberg's character.
Yeah. The other girl's a plain Jane. I'm a FBI security person.
Which you do need in this case.
And maybe we'll have some nice character development with her throughout the movie. We'll see. But I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good. I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah. There you go. That's your cross that off the bingo card. Ryan said interesting. Also coming out this weekend, Brave the Dark. Also coming to theaters. This one's PG-13, an inspirational movie. Kind of a discount Goodwill Hunting, where a high school teacher tries to get an at-risk youth out of trouble. And there also seems to be this theme of running in this one. Running away from your problems or facing them. He's a good track star, so he's a good runner.
And he's going to be in the local theater school production.
Yeah, that was out of left field, I guess.
Felt a little forced, but we'll see.
I'm not saying athletes can't be in theater.
Haven't you ever seen High School Musical?
I have. You haven't. We went over this.
That's true. So
I'm just saying, it was kind of, that one was a little up there.
Well, and who says the theater kids can't be athletes, too?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they can
You're
be.
saying the athletes can't be theater kids. I'm saying
by the transitive property, that automatically applies that I'm saying the opposite then as well.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Be whatever you want to be. I don't care.
Just do what you want to do.
I'm going to imply the karaoke rules we have at the Array Not to Hear now.
That's South Park.
Yeah,
Another South Park reference.
Yeah. All right.
Braden.
Very rare we get two in there.
That's another fantastic because his dad wants him to be a singing person. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to play basketball. It's pretty. It's
like the
roles are reversed.
I have seen that episode.
I'll slap you.
I have seen that episode. Yep.
So good.
Okay, back to this movie here. Yeah. This was brought to you by the same studio that did Sound of Freedom. So going to be probably a little bit of a Christian message, probably somewhere in there, I would assume. Although the trailer didn't.
The trailer didn't push that.
It.
No, it more pushed the I'm a teacher trying to do the right thing and help this kid out because nobody else is going to help him.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the Christian, hey, let's go to church and like that avenue. It was much more just like this kid's got nothing. I want to help him out.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, that is still a very good message to portray anyway.
Yeah.
I will say it did look like it had some good grounded humor, I think.
Yeah.
There were a few moments. Some of the performances, however, I could already tell from the trailer, I was kind of on. Maybe I'm judging it a little too early on that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think this is going to be a kind of good middle of the road.
Inspirational movie.
Yeah. You're going to feel pretty good at the end of it.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. That is its goal, I think, at the very
Unless
least.
something snaps and just, you never know.
My question is, so, like, apparently this kid in this movie is, like, homeless or whatever, doesn't have his parents, but he has a kick-butt car.
Yeah.
I am jealous of that car.
Don't know.
How does he get, probably because of crime.
Yeah. Crime doesn't pay.
Well,
Remember that, kids.
Clearly it does. He's got a pretty cool car.
It does. Just don't get caught.
No, crime actually does not pay. Don't don't take that as a message. That's not that. Our lawyer is freaking out over there. I think right now.
Relax.
Yeah, calm down. All right, let's finish this off here with the documentary here. One that is called "This Is the Tom Green Documentary," coming straight to Prime Video.
Is this the one kind of about Tom Green?
You'd think so. No, I'm just kidding. It's I wasn't even going to finish that joke because that was just too dumb. As the title suggests, this is a documentary about 90s comedian Tom Green. No question marks here. I don't know the trailer you saw. The one I saw was very, very short. And it does, however, say, I believe this was produced and directed by Tom Green himself. Mm-hmm. So this is an autobiographical documentary. We don't see these very often. It reveals very little. It just kind of reminds you, hey, he was a big comedian back in the 90s. Now I own a farm in Canada.
Now he's a simpler man.
Well, I don't know if I'd call simpler man.
Living simpler.
There we go.
Simpler. I like Tom Green, so I think that
was going to be my next question. I was too late in the 90s to really get caught up in the Tom Green fad that it was then, but he was pretty big.
Yeah, he was big, and he was one of those, like, my parents might not want me watching his stuff, or like, it wasn't like, hey, you should watch this. It's funny. It was kind of like a, hey, if nobody's around, I'm going to try and watch this, or I'm going to try to see this on TV tonight. Like, that's how I remember Tom Green. And as I got a little older, when I was in college, I watched a lot of his stuff, and it was funny. It was that kind of brand or style of humor was pretty early for his time.
I'm trying to even think of who you can kind of compare it to nowadays, because I think you could make the argument he was a little ahead of his time.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Tosh Point oh was kind of similar comedy, at least as far as like internet humor, but like the people that he would go in with, like his web redemptions, whatever, they were in on the joke. Here he would Tom Green would kind of ambush them or whatever, maybe.
Yeah. That it reminded me of also Billy Emerson, I think is his name. He's like he did like the guy in the street thing with the camera, and he'd walk up and be like, "Do you know who this person is?" And it's like some famous movie star, and they'll be like, "No," and they'll go, "It's Jennifer Lawrence, you idiot!" And then they walk away. Like there's some really funny things like that, and I think he birthed a lot of that.
Yeah, whether you loved or hated this comedian, I will say he did kind of push some boundaries. Tried to go into uncharted waters and everything like that, and. It is interesting. He did kind of disappear off the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. And I can't say I've ever wondered where he was, but I would have never guessed a farm.
Yeah, in Canada.
Well, I think he grew up in Canada.
Yeah, he's from Canada. I just know I've listened to him a couple of times or seen clips of him on Joe Rogan, and he seemed pretty normal. But yes, it was like until then, it was like I haven't seen or heard of you in 7 years.
Yeah.
10 years.
I do have reservations about documentaries that are, and I mean, this is not just documentaries, just biographies or whatever, that is written by the person it's about. Yeah. I feel like you need a little bit of objectivity when you're telling someone else's story a little bit. That being said, I think the only person on earth who could tell Tom Green's story is Tom Green.
Yeah.
Because he is just such a character.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's just going to be more, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get too deep into if there's any hairy, bad things. I don't know off the top of my head if he had a lot of that stuff, but I think this is more just like a comedy. It's comedy almost, and what I did for the comedic world. It's
almost like a Where Are They Now segment, but in a feature-length documentary.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably what it's going to be like.
Yep.
So. But that's everything coming out here this weekend. Let's talk about some things we've seen recently. It's time for some number one recommends. I'll kick things off here with the new Daredevil trailer that came out about a week ago, give or take. Yeah, about a week ago. It made me want to rewatch the original seasons of I almost said Deadpool. Deadpool
what?
On the brain there. Daredevil that came out originally on Netflix. It is on Disney Plus, however, now. I'm gonna make a bet. I think you're gonna have to watch those original seasons to understand this new one.
All right.
I think this is essentially Daredevil season 4 because they do reference a lot of stuff that the show kind of ended on there. I think.
Okay.
And for the record, even if it wouldn't, I would still recommend these first 3 seasons, especially season 1. Season 1's excellent. Season 1 still holds up in my mind. So. Yeah, just a general recommend for Daredevil once again. If you haven't watched it before, try and check it out before this new season comes out. If you have watched it before, give it a good rewatch. I think it's about that time again. So That's my recommend this week. Mr. Marburg, what do you got?
Well, kind of going similar to what you were talking. There's only one episode, I believe, left of Beast Games, and I can't stop loving on this show. It's absolutely insane. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. If this was on regular cable TV, this would be blowing everything out of the water. It's like Survivor mixed with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire mixed with Squid Games.
I would throw a little bit of Old Testament commandments in there as well, because this guy is the devil.
He is. And it isn't until like one of the last episodes that I watched, I think like maybe like episode 6, where somebody's like laughing or like he's like, yeah, see, these games are funny or something. And it's like, yeah, I think they're great. I could see where people think he's an evil, twisted, wild guy, but it's like, I love it. I'm in for it. Watch it. Give it a shot. Give it a chance. I don't care if you don't like Mr. Beast or you don't like the.
I will give you that. The episodes I did see at your place, I don't think. Whether I loved or hated Mr. Beast, I don't think that's an effect on the show. The show is, my only knock on it was those games have way too many rules, man. Just the way they're explaining it, they're like, oh, it's a simple game. But if this happens, your whole team is out, unless this person does this. But then they're only moving on, and the whole team is out. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, just hold up, back up. Could we rewind
How
here?
far did we get? Did they get to like their? Were they just in that warehouse?
I saw the where they're 3 are trapped in a box, whatever.
Oh, you watched all the way up to that one's rough.
Where they're like he like forces them to be friends, and then has them sacrifice himself or whatever. Yeah. Like that's as far as I got.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, there's some really satisfying moments in episode 8, I think 7 maybe. That if you remember the box episode where they locked themselves in, very satisfying moments. Watch it; it's worth it.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Once again, as of right now, TikTok's still up and running, so feel free to follow us over there while you still can.
That was my TikTok dance.
That was your TikTok dance right there? Oh. Perfect.
See, I could be on TikTok.
No notes. If it ever does go down, or you want to check us out on other social media platforms as well, we do have a Facebook and Instagram as well, where we post short clips from these episodes, our movie reviews that we come right out of the theater, and we say our thoughts. They're fresh out of the oven thoughts on the latest movies. So check us out over there as well. For myself, Ryan, and Carter, I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.